Yeah, car. I'm talking about car. Car simply is used to represent just a character. It is best used for a character. So we can have something like, okay, for the boo, we can have something like Jim ready. Jim ready as Boolean. As Boolean equals maybe true. This one we have instantiated from scratch. So this is how you write a Boolean, a Boolean, declare a Boolean variable. So the data type here is the Boolean. Then you can also have dim let, something like letter, but you make let as car, like this, as car equals probably A. Yes, you can decide to do something like this, but you see, car accepts one character. When you do this, it won't actually know what you are doing. But when you are writing, when you are writing programs that involve a lot of blocks of code, and you actually want to use characters normally accept just one thing, just one thing. So it should be this way. A is a character. A is a character. So characters, they accept just one item and nothing more. Then the next one I want us to look at is date. There is also date. Date is also a data type. Date is also a data type. So we have date of maybe today's date or something. But date is an interesting topic that I don't want us to stress too much today, because there are so many things you can do with dates. So you can simply say dim TTD, which is like today, as date. Now, if you say dim TTD as date, there are so many things you can do with TTD. So you can say TTDA dot, then it will give you add months, year. Like you can do so many things with it. You see, when I type the dot, let me explain this one before we move on. When I type dot, the last time we saw it, it pulls up other stuff. Whenever you say dim TTDA as something, this date, as we see here, even though it's a data type, it is like a library, it's a class sitting there. It has a lot of objects in there. Now the dots that we put here, we call it the dot operator, and it gives us the dot extension. Now the dot extension pulls out objects from a huge library. When we take date, for instance, this TTDA, there are so many things we can do with it. We can add, so we can say that TTDA add 3. No, this one we are using normal date, so we can't just do straight away. We have to do date time. Like this before we can actually work well with this TTDA. So add this 4. So when you tell it to add this 4, it will make the TTDA. It will pick today's date and then add 4. There are so many. You can add years, you can add months, and there is a very special function inside also known as date. There are so many things you can do with date too. So date is also another data type that going along we will be working with. Actually, look at the last thing I want us to look at, a very interesting data type which we may not use frequently, but when we start doing interface building and all that, we may use it. But it's a very interesting data type. I love using it a lot because it actually helps me with simplifying certain things, but not in all programs that I build. So now let's take a look. That type of data is called enum data. enum data, the enumeration data, like the enumeration data, enumeration, short, enum for short. It gives you a list of items. With this data type, you can create a list of items. Then you let that list of items become something like, oh yes, a list. It becomes something like a collection for you, where you can pick something from and do anything you want with it. But one interesting thing about this data type is that the mother list is not created inside of a method. I've told you that from the start. I've told you this is a method. This thing you see here, the sub, is a method. When you come to VB and C#, they also call it a subroutine. So whether you see method or subroutine here, you mean the same thing. When you go somewhere, they will tell you it's a function, and yes, it's a function. Somewhere they will tell you it's yeah. So let's just maintain this one, a routine function. This type of enum is declared outside of a method. It stands on its own. It acts like a method, but it's a data type actually. But it doesn't work inside. It is not declared. Let me put it that way. This data type is not declared inside of a method. It is declared outside of a method. A very interesting data type. Everything, all the other data types, they are declared in, like the double, the integer, the single. Single is also like a single number, strictly single. The enum is rather declared outside, like this. So you come here and probably you do enum. Then enum, you give it a list. Forget about the red lines. We let it go. So you give it a list, and then you give the enumeration a name. What should we use? Okay, it's a very simple thing. Let's use days of week. Something like this. So you see, we get enum days of week. Then it says end enum. So we are going to create a list. And surprisingly, this one, when you type, it knows that you are typing a string. You don't need, please, nobody should get confused with this. So I'm saying that this one, when you are typing, it knows that you are typing a string, but you don't have to introduce the quotation marks. It knows what you are doing. So you can type Monday. Let's start. So you can see I didn't add anything. I didn't add anything to it. I didn't add any quotation marks. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Let me intentionally do something and see. You see, that's underlined it. I already have Tuesday here and I'm writing the same thing. It will underline it. Good. So this. Then rather, when you want to use this, you rather have to come here. And then it's like right now you have created some of these libraries. So it's now a data type. Enum is now the data type. Now instead of calling enum here, you rather do something like dim a day. Let me just do something here. Dim a day as day of days of, is it day of week or what name do we do? Days of week as days of week, like this. And it actually knows what we are trying to do. Then we can say days of week. So we can simply say a day equals days of week dot Saturday. So we have actually passed a day as a data type. And now days of week has become that enum data type. We will touch more on this, so don't worry too much. So like I said, this is another interesting data type, enum, which I love to use, but not, like I said, I love to use a lot, but not too often in my programs, because I prefer to also create my own array and then use. So like I said the last time, an array is equally a data type, and an array is equally a data type. So I can do something like dim names of children as, okay, like this, as array. Simple. When I do this, let me give it a number. So something like this. When I don't put anything here, I have not initialized it. But as soon as I bring something in here, like 4, I have initialized it. This is also a very interesting data type. So dim names of children, 4, as that thing you put in there. But like I said, we'll be touching on all these things one by one as we go along. Not like we pick it one. They will appear. Then they will appear in our lessons. Then we'll be looking at it specifically. So these are some of the data types. I don't know. The last thing, let me probably touch on that, then we go. I want you to also take critical look at how I am naming my variables. There is something we call the naming convention in programming. You see, nobody will force you to write the style of your but there is actually some standard when you are naming your variables anywhere, not in VB. I'm not talking about VB, I'm talking about programming. There is actually a standard of naming of naming. Now let's look at some of them. These are also strings. We are talking about string, but naming in particular. This not strings, but naming. This is a name. This is a name. That is also a name. That is a name. That is a name. Yes. So ready is a name. Letter is a name. TTD is a name. Good. Let's now make all the mistakes. Let's learn from the mistakes. There is the first thing that we call snake naming. Snake naming. You can name, and the snake naming, there are three ways actually. You can begin with a snake, you can put a snake in between, and you can end with a snake. And that naming convention is accepted in every programming language. So you can have dim my name as string. Dim my name as string. This is a type of snake naming. Snake naming, and it's okay if you bring the snake, if you make it look like a snake. This is actually an underscore. So where you bring an underscore before, an underscore within, or an underscore afterwards. Now, this is one way of doing the snake naming, which is simply an underscore. Yeah. Then you can also have something like dim my name as string. These two things are different. They are not the same things, but they are all forms of snake naming, which we simply use the underscore. Then the last one is dim my name underscore as string. I don't want to touch on dim my name as this, the normal thing, but I want to. So all these are accepted. All these are accepted. You see, you do these, something like, especially this one, make your code readable. So somebody can say, may I, like, instead of doing my name, but if you separate it, the person will know that you are typing my name as something. Now the next thing, so you can bring it, you can even add this to it, and it will still work. You can add this to the end, and it will still work. So you can have it in any way that you want it, it will still work. So this is the snake, where we use the underscore to actually separate text to make it readable, or to give a variable a name. The next one is what we call the sentence naming. The sentence naming. Sentence naming, you simply write. Yes, this is it. This is considered a sentence, even though it's just one word. It's considered a sentence. So they are just straightforward ways of. And there are times that people write the sentence in such a way which is not accepted. But sentence naming is actually not appropriate if we are using more than one word, like then my name, and my age as not cool as strength, something like this. I'm just doing not cool. This one, don't use it. Because whenever you write a code, you need to understand that you want to live forever. You need to understand that you are not going to live forever. So if you are not going to live forever and you are creating a software for someone, understand that your software must be readable. Just recently, somebody invited me to a school to go and talk about a contract and all that. And when I went there, I realized that the person who did the software for them, unfortunately, has passed on. And now they want to upgrade the software and they are lost. Now, I don't have the person's code, so I can't do anything about it. If it was a website, I would have probably gone there to pull the website. And I cannot even get the back end. But once I pull down the website, I'll be able to know what code to write behind the scenes to make it work again. But here is the case that the person is gone. The software is just sitting there. They want to upgrade, they cannot upgrade. So you just know you want to live forever. So you make your codes readable. Now, the next one is what we call the camel casing. The camel casing. Camel casing, just like this. Like this. Instead of doing this, you see a camel, this is just derived from camel. Camel, look at the camel, how the camel goes. The camel has two hunchbacks. Okay, most of them have two hunchbacks. That's what I know. I don't know if it is one hunchback, but they have a hunchback. That is it. So you can do something like name, my name, and my age. At least everybody looking at this will see that, oh, okay, my name and my age. This is quite readable to anyone. This is quite readable to anyone, but we are even getting some red lines. Okay. Sorry, I think we have the same thing here. Yeah, this VB.NET is not case sensitive. Let's comment that. So name, my name, and my age. So it's this thing, the same thing is here. You can't have same variables declared twice. So name, my age, and this is what we call the camel naming structure. The camel case naming structure. So whenever you are doing naming, these are some of the ways you can do name. You can't do something like name 2 as integer, name 3 as integer. No, this is not that. Name 3 as integer. This thing we have done, you are not seeing an error, but it is an error. Okay, it has brought the red stuff. It is an error. You can now let's look at something very interesting here. You see, I'm writing 3. It says it's an error. Name 3 as integer. Please, you don't use numbers as variable names. You don't use numbers. You can do this 3. No, that this one is accepted because it is text. You can't do name 3 as integer or name 3 as decimal. Please, it's not done. But look at something interesting here. You cannot start a variable name with a number. The logic behind here is that you cannot start a variable name with a number. So you cannot do something like name 34 go as string. Look, You cannot start a variable name as a number with a number. But surprisingly, you can end with a number or put numbers in between. Surprisingly, or it's not surprising. Yes. So you can have something like Jim go 34 as string, and this one is acceptable. There are no problems with go 34. You can even have Jim G34 O as string, provided it is starting with a letter. It's acceptable, and this works everywhere in every language. Whether you are doing VB, whether you are doing C#, you are doing Python, you are doing PHP, you are doing Laravel, any language. As for the programming languages, that's why I'm telling you not to focus on the language, but focus on the concept. Because the programming languages, if you get time, go and Google for programming languages. You will see languages you haven't heard before. Fortran, Cobol. These are even old languages. Objective-C, Perl, Ruby on Rails. They are all programming languages. So, can you learn everything? No, you can't. But you can learn the concepts. The concepts are the same everywhere. Actually, okay. The concepts, they're everywhere. They are all the same. But the syntax is what differs from place to place. So this is naming convention. It is 4 a.m. We are done with this part. Let's now go to arithmetic operators. So this is how you switch. I want us to switch to a different, how do you call it? A different interface. So you just come here. Let me comment this out. So you just come to this part where you have the solutions explorer. You right click. You will see add. Now inside the add, you have some options in there. Just go to module like that. And then it will create another module for us. We can from here we can create so it says module 2. Module 2. Are you seeing what I'm seeing? You are not getting my module. Oh, I think today I have to go full screen. I have to share entire screen with you guys. The entire screen doesn't. Yeah, this is the reason why I don't like the entire screen. This repeated view. But how they say when I take it off, it goes. So I believe as for now you are seeing what I want you to see. So like I said, you come to this part, you right click, and then you do add module. Then a pop-up will come asking you to give the module a name. You can give it a name actually, but I don't want to give it any name. I just want it to be module 2. Yeah. Then you have a new interface to work with. So if you have realized, inside this module, they allowed us to create a subroutine. And without that subroutine, our module will not actually work for us. So come here, you can do sub, you can do public sub like this. Public sub, then you give it a name. So public sub, say main. Let's use the same name, then hit enter. That is all. You can remove this one. When you remove it, it's still public, but you can have private subroutine. For this one, when we are doing classes on object, you come to understand why it is private, public, and all that. For now, we are not doing classes. We are just looking at this sub. Let's now do, whenever you are doing console applications, the first thing you have to do is to write your code that will like display what you type. So come here and write console.write. Then just put something in there. Then let's do console.read. Read line or read. Yes, here it is. These two things, whenever you are practicing, you need to bring them. The first thing is you need to write, because it is what you are going to be using to display everything that you want to display to yourself. Let's continue from here. We are going to talk about arithmetic operators. There are arithmetic operators. I believe everyone here, no, not that I believe, I know everyone here has been through primary school, through to okay, Nigeria also uses junior secondary school. Ghana, they just changed the name to junior high school. Nothing different. Even getting worse. So we now have junior high school. So we have the elementary school. So together it's all the elementary school. Then we have the secondary. Everybody has been through these phases. Everybody here has been through all these phases. At least the elementary and secondary. And when we were in school, we did arithmetic operators. We did it in school. I want you to cast your mind back there, because whatever we are going to do, we are coming to learn 1 plus 1, 2 plus 2 here. But we are going to use the codes to actually learn them. So the arithmetic operators that we have the addition, we have the subtraction. Sorry, spelled it wrong. We have the subtraction. Then we have the multiplication. Then we have the division. And then we have the remainder, which we call modulo. The mathematics teachers, am I correct with that? Modulo, something modulo. It's not module, it's actually modulo. Mode, where we have mode 2, mode 3, that kind of thing. Yeah. Then we have modulo. These are basically the arithmetic operators you shall be using in programming. So we have multiplication, which is this, but actually you use the asterisk sign for multiplication in programming. The asterisk sign is used for multiplication in programming. This one I type X, but you don't use X here. You use multiplication sign. Then the division. This is the division. Then okay, modulo is like this, the percentage. Modulo looks like the percentage here, like the remainder of something. Let's talk about addition. Addition. Let's talk about addition. I hope I'm still online. Please, if you have any question as I go along, just draw my attention. I'm not viewing this interface. So if you type in, okay, I may get a beep. Alright, or just raise your hand. I think the raising of the hand to a sound will come, so that I can pick the sound from there. So so that's that. Let's continue. Let's continue. Okay. So now let's do addition. Now let's do it directly from here. We know that 1 plus 1. 1 plus 1. This is not 1 ampersand 1. The last time we did 1 ampersand 1. This one will give us 1 1. It will not give us 11. Don't confuse yourself. This one we are concatenating. We are bringing the two together. So if we run this particular one, we are going to get 1 1. We are running. We are still running module this one. This one. So I need to come here. This process, I don't want to worry your heads with it. It's starting from here. So please, if you are using module 2, if you have created another module, let's switch. So just come to project at the top here. Pay critical attention. Come to project at the top here. You will see the name of the project and properties. Sorry. You see the name of the project and properties. So mine is just for trials, properties. Then you click on it. It will bring you to this settings. The properties as a settings. Properties. So inside the properties, we are going to see application. Just click on it. Application. Then you come to startup object. Startup object. So I think you have to change it to module 2. Change the startup object to module 2 and then save it. So you can save all or save and save. Now we know that we are working with just module 2. Just module 2. So this one was an ampersand, a concatenation. We are actually going to add. So you do this plus. Plus is straight away. It will add. So this is arithmetic. 1 plus 1 will add and give us 2, as we know it in our normal class. Now let's rather pass these values to variables, and let's say that dim age 1 as integer. Integer equals 56. Then dim age 2 as integer. Sorry, I've done age 1. Age 2 also as integer equals 12. So now I can add both integers. I can add both numbers. I can multiply both numbers and I can subtract both numbers. So I can have something like, sorry, I said age 1 plus age 2, like that. Age 1 plus age 2. Then when I run this, I should see the two numbers added. Arithmetic, like I was saying, arithmetic is very simple. So it has added age 1 and age 2. 56 plus 12, which will definitely give us 68. So this is addition. Addition. And it applies everywhere, whether in Python, whatever. So this is plus. So the same way, I won't do much here, just minus. And you all know what will happen. If we do multiplication, we all know what will happen. So this is how you write multiplication. You don't do this. You don't have anything like times. What I've done here is it is even underlined. So this is multiplication. You use the asterisk sign for multiplication. Then let's run this and see. So you have these two numbers multiplied for you. Now, what if I want to, can I add numbers in multiples? Like, say I have this number. I said in multiples. Yeah, can I like add numbers repeated? Or can I declare them before? You see, when you do this, age 1, age 2 as integer, and I do age 1 times age 2. Or let's say age 1 plus age 2. Let's start with plus. I want someone to tell me the results we are likely to get. Or you can run and tell me the results you are getting. So what do you think is the value there? The value for these two things? Yeah, but I expect to see something. At least 0 should be there. Or you don't get 0. Okay, yours is giving you build errors. Can you check your code? Dim age 1 as integer, dim age 2 as integer. Then in the console write, console.write age 1 plus age 2. It should give you 0. Because by default, anything you write, any integer you declare, or any decimal you declare, or any double you declare, any long is also a data type. Any long or any short, any single that you declare they are all 0 by default. Now let's talk of modulo. Modulo is simply remainder. So modulo can give us the remainder like this. So if you write age 1 mod age 2, yeah, the sign, the percentage sign is used, I think, in one of the languages. I'm trying to do importation. I'm trying to steal a certain language in here. It should be JavaScript. Yeah, this should be in JavaScript, this one. But in VB here in C#, we use mode. What you are doing with mode simply means you are dividing these two numbers, but you are not producing the answer of the division, but you are producing the answer of the remainder. So if we have something like this, say here is 12 and here is 5. 12, 5. Yeah, good. Let's run this. We should get 2 because 5 will go into 10 2 times and there will be a remainder of 2. I wanted to use a very simple example so you get it. So 5 goes here. So let's do something like, now let's do something like 15 here. Sorry. Let's do 15 here. And let's now check something. We get 0. We get 0, which is correct. Because 5 will go into 15 3 times without a remainder. 5 will go into 15 3 times without a remainder. So if you have something like this number, I don't know what is going to pull out, but at least it should still give us a remainder. Something, remainder 1. So that means 5 will go into that number. I don't know the number of times, but the remainder. So there are times that you need the remainder to do something. Now, when you are doing this in VB, you use mode like this. If you are doing it in C#, you use the dollar. Sorry, I said the dollar. You use the percentage sign. If you are doing it in JavaScript, you use the percentage sign. This basically is all about arithmetic operators. There's a lot you can do with it. So if you want to probably add a number to itself, please check here. Add a number to itself. And then let's say I have these two numbers already existing, 6. And then I want to rather pull it into a variable, another variable, pull the results into another variable. I can simply say dim results as either decimal or integer or anything, as integer equals age. So let's type age 1 plus age 2. Then here I would simply display results. So definitely you all know what is going to happen. Now let's do something. There is something in this numbering. When it comes to arithmetic operators, there is something we call increments and decrements. When I write something like, when you say we are incrementing a number, we are just adding 1 to the number. And if we are decrementing, that's how we say that, whether it is bad English or anything, that's how it is said. We are decrementing and we are incrementing. So if we are incrementing the number, we are adding 1, or something we feel like we are adding, but normally it is 1 by default. And if we are decrementing the number, it is -1 by default. So if we can do something like results Okay, let's remove this part. Results equals age plus 1. What we are doing here right now, we are incrementing age 2 plus 1. We are actually incrementing age 2. We are incrementing age 2. So if we run this, instead of 5, we should get 6. If we run this, good. Now we can also simply do minus. We can do, it is for increment and decrement, please. Multiplication and division and remainder, they are not among. That's the modulo. They are not among. We only have addition and subtraction. So this is increment. This is increment. Then you can have decrement, where you use minus to be there. What if, but this is, I'm showing this one, I'm just using the age as an example. Now, let's look at something. We want to display age again, age 2. This time we are not displaying results. We are displaying age 2. But we want to put the age 2 here. We are saying that age 2 equals 5. But age 2 is now equal to age 2 plus 1. Pay attention. Age 2 equals to age 2 plus 1. I believe someone is running, but don't run and tell me what you think the answer will be. So if we run this, we should get the same results we got previously, which is 6. Don't let this confuse you. We have actually turned this into another variable. We are letting it wait. We are letting it wait. And then we are adding, we are bringing it again, the same number again, and we are adding 1. You see, this is a long process. So the makers of the language actually tells us that, okay, you see, we are saying age 2 equals age 2 plus 1. If we are saying age 2 equals age 1 plus 1, we understand that, okay, this time around we are using age 1. So, Charlie, it's okay to repeat it. But if you are using age 2, the makers of programming, the concept, not the language itself, but the makers of programming, the programming concept accepts that. Just remove this age from here. But when you remove this age, you get an error. Just remove this age from here and then do plus equals 1. Like that. Like that. Let's run this. Look at the results. Beautifully 6. It is 6 beautifully. It is 6. So this is only telling you that this number, repeat it and add 1. Repeat it and add 1. Repeat the number and add 1. You can even say 5. Repeat the number and add 5. Repeat the number and add 5. This is all that is telling you. In some languages, if you want to add 1 to it, in some other languages, you want to add 1 to it. This one, if you run this, you should get age 2. Sorry, I said age 2. You should get age 2, which is 5 plus 5, so 10. You should get 10. Because we are taking age 2 and doing the same. So it's the same thing if you bring minus here. Let's say 2. You now get 5. If you bring minus here, you are decrementing. You are decrementing age 2. You are decrementing age 2 by 2. If you bring the plus here, you are incrementing age 2 by 2. Or let's say you are adding age 2 to 2. Or so you are adding 2 to age 2. Let me put it that way. You are adding 2 to age 2. This is it. So this is for the decrementing. This for the. When you go to some languages, they will give you something like this. If you are adding just one number, they will give you something like this. It doesn't work here. It doesn't work here actually. But when you go to some languages like Java, Python, I don't know for Python, but for Java, I know that for Java, you can simply do h2 plus plus like that, and to add 1 to h2 straight off like that. But it doesn't work here. It doesn't work in VB. It doesn't work in VB. So this is how we do the incrementing and then the decrement. Mix them up as in this is, you can do this plus 4 times 3 and all that. And you can play around this, they will still work. And I'll give you an assignment on board mass. I'm not going to touch on board mass here, but I'll give you an assignment on board mass. And as for board mass, I believe we all know. So that's what we call the precedence. The precedence. Probably tomorrow. Okay, tomorrow I'll touch on it. I'll touch on it before we do anything else. The precedence. So when we have these, where does it start from? Where will it start from? The precedent. Where does it give priority to? Let's look at something. We know that 2 plus 4 is 7. Sorry, I said 7. 2 plus 4 is 6. Then this one will give us 18. But then if we multiply 3 by 4, it also gives us a different thing altogether. 3 by 4 is 12. Then plus this is what? 14. Let's now see what answer we get. There's something when we are doing board math, bracket of division, something. We get 14. Why didn't we? That's what we call the precedence. Why didn't we get 2 plus 4, which is 2 plus, which is 6? Then 6 times this should give us 18, right? If my math is working well, it should give us 18. By this time round, we are getting 14. That's because there is precedence. It gives priority. Every language gives priority to some group of numbers, some arithmetic operators. Some arithmetic operators have higher precedence than others. Arithmetic operators, just like board math. So unless you specifically tell it that begin from here, that is the only way it will give you a different result. Besides that, it knows that it has to begin from somewhere. So you see, we are getting 18. Instead, the thing I said I'll be teaching tomorrow, I'm teaching now, no problem. You see, we are getting 18 instead of 14. We call this precedence. So if you write something like this, raw, this way, if you write it raw this way, it will always look for the highest arithmetic operator, which is multiplication. The highest arithmetic operator, which is multiplication. So you saw that when we did this raw, we got 14. But when we specified and told it that, okay, I'm putting this into a bracket. If you put this into a bracket, it knows that, okay, so I should apply that board mass, the mathematics we did in school. It is multiplication, division, addition, and subtraction. Yes, that's the precedence. So it will first look for multiplication, then it will come and look for division, where there is division. Before it will come and look for where there is addition, then it will come and look for where there is subtraction. That's why we have, but first of all, if it is a bracket, it will first go and look for the bracket with the highest level, with the highest level. Maybe you have multiple brackets in there. So it will look for the bracket with the highest level. If they are on the same level, it will do their calculations at the same time, and then whether it will add or subtract or do anything before it moves forward. So with this one, for instance, it will use the board mass logic. So it will come here and look for the bracket first, and do whatever the bracket says before it will come and look for the addition, the multiplication. then it will go and look for any other thing. It will go and look for any other thing. But if we remove the bracket, we will let it will look for the highest arithmetic operator, which is star, the multiplication, the asterisk. It will do this first before it will come and the answer it gets will come and add to this one. Anyone with any question?